Hey everyone, and welcome back to another unboxing. This is for an OBSBOT webcam, which I'm pretty excited about because it's packed full of features, especially compared to my old Logitech webcam, which isn't exactly very good. So I'm actually excited to see this particular webcam. So let's unbox it and take a look. Okay, it's just well packaged. Let's actually put the box over there. So this is an 4K webcam as well, which I'm pretty excited about because most webcams aren't 4K, you know, they 1080p, and I know that things like Zoom and Teams actually, you know, downscale things a lot of the time, but nonetheless, I think that actually having a 4K webcam can come in use for a range of purposes, especially because there's a bunch of features here. I mean, they say AI powered, which I know can be a marketing term, but actually, you know, you don't just get the webcam here. There's a bit of software that we look at later in this video that actually gives you a lot of extra features as well, so that's really nice. But this is the OBSBOT TinyLite, and as I mentioned before, it's got a 4K sensor and it can track you and do a bunch of really cool things. So let me just open this up. So it comes out like that, and you can see the instructions there, and it says stay pro, stay productive. So it's quite a nice sleek box. I'll just put that there, and the actual webcam itself is utterly tiny as well. It's really, really nice. Like compared to my Logitech one, you can see, you know, the Logitech one is big and built like a brick. This one is not, but actually it contains more power. And also you get this box, of course, which is just going to be the actual USB cables and things like that. So I'll show you exactly what you get so you know if you are going to buy it, whether you need to buy anything separate. So little plastic bag, let's just rip that. And you get a USB adapter, so that's USB-C to standard, you know, USB-A, I think it's USB-A. And then you get the actual cable as a whole, which is a USB-C cable. And then you just plug it in like so. Very easy, and then obviously you put it into your computer. But first, before I do that, I just wanted to show that actually here, they got this little thing that comes out, as you can see there. And what that actually allows you to do is put it on your monitor or something like that. So you could perch it up there, for example, and then, you know, the face tracking will actually make sure it's constantly looking at me. And that is quite a nice feature, the face tracking, because actually, you know, as I move around, it's going to make sure it tracks me, which, you know, sounds a bit creepy, but actually it's brilliant. Because with a standard webcam like this, it's not going to do that. You know, if you go out of frame, then you're gone, you know, and in the meeting, people are going to say, hey, come back, we can't see you. But with this one, it actually can. So now I'm going to check out the software. Okay, so we are now live with the OBS bot, and I've clicked this little button down here, which means AI tracking is enabled. So you can turn it off there. But when it's on and tracking is enabled, whenever I move, it's going to move with me. So automatically now I'm going to stay in frame. And there's absolutely tons of features on this particular app. And when you launch it, you do get a choice between the beginner mode and another mode. I think I went into the easy mode, but there is an absolute ton of features here. For example, you can go into the settings and click on the pro mode, and then it's actually going to restart the application. But there's absolutely loads of settings you can use here. So right now the OBS Center is restarting, but still the webcam is on and the tracking is still there. So even though the actual control software is off, the tracking is still working. So there we are, I'm now in the Pro mode and I've got even more options. And what's nice about this is you can add multiple devices. So right now I've just got the one, but if I had loads of different OBS bots, then I can configure them all here as well, which is pretty cool. And you can come along, you can record, you can do virtual cameras, loads of different things. You can also do remote controllers and things if you did want to control this separately. So that is pretty cool. There's also this beauty mode, and you can get this in both Pro and the beginner one. I'm not really sure how I feel about it, but basically, yeah, you can change yourself. So let's see if this is actually going to work. Is that working? I'm not sure. It might be because I've hijacked it with OBS, so maybe then that won't work. Face, eyebrows, you can change loads of different things, which, you know, I'm not wild about, but those features are there. So you can whiten your teeth. The point is, there's loads of different features. You've got loads of filters as well. Again, I'm running without that, and I'm just streaming this straight into OBS, but you can do loads of different things there if you want to do that. And then, yeah, you've got the AI human tracking, and it's not really AI, it's just knowing where I am, and then it's tracking me all the time, which is a pretty neat feature. But you can turn that off if you want. And you can do things like zone tracking as well, so you're only tracking within a particular area, which could be pretty useful. And you can also track certain things as well, so only close-up, only upper body and things like that. I'll just leave that at normal tracking, and I probably won't do the motion one. Yeah, I'll just leave that at the normal one. But either way, there's loads of configurability. You can also do things like hand tracking, so if you had particularly nice hands, you could actually turn it on. Which one is it tracking now? My right hand. But basically the point is, I'm just going to go to normal tracking. But the point is, if you were like, you know, a hand model, or you're doing something like showing things off, you know, you're doing unboxings and things, you might want it tracking your hands instead. So that's actually a pretty cool feature. And this is, as I said, I'm in the Pro mode now, but actually most of these features existed in the other mode as well. I just didn't want to miss one or two features by being in the other modes, that's why I'm in the Pro one. So that's the normal console, but there's loads of other things you can do as well. So you can come in here and you can adjust things like the contrast. So you can increase that up and down if you want it. Saturation as well, you can change all that. If I want to pretend I got a radioactive t-shirt. This is getting a bit weird now, but the point is you can configure loads of different things here. And with my Logitech webcam, there is a software that you can use, but it doesn't have this level of configurability. So this is really cool. It's also got stuff like, white balance and anti-flicker. So if you've got LEDs that are flickering, you can turn them off based on the frequency of the LEDs, which is really cool. I'm just going to put some of these contrast figures back so it doesn't look too bad. And it's also got things like gesture control, where in theory you can do things like that and then it'll zoom in and out. But I think because I got the AI mode on, it's not working right now. Does the lock target, turning that on and off, is that working? No. I was playing around with that, couldn't get it working, but in theory you could do gesture controls. If you did want to zoom in and out, you could do things like that, which is pretty cool. Now, throughout this, I've not been using the audio from the webcam because I wanted to do a dedicated section for the audio. So I have been using my own microphones, but now I'm going to switch to the audio on the webcam. So this is the built-in one in the OBSBOT, but you can configure things if you would like. So by default, there's a noise reduction of weak, which basically means that some of the background noise in the audio is, going to be dampened a little bit. You can turn that off completely if you'd want, and this is what it sounds like with noise reduction off. Then you could have medium noise reduction if you wanted that, and that's what this sounds like. And then you could have strong noise reduction as well. And what you'll probably find is the more strong the noise reduction is, the slightly more warped or robotic the actual sound is. So sticking with weak might make sense unless you're like filming outside or something like that. There's also things like auto gain. So if I was talking quite quietly, it's going to help increase the gain a little bit. But if I turn that off, what you're going to find is the audio is going to be really quiet instead. So actually that is a really nice feature. Equally, you can do things like mirror image, so you can actually flip the image. There we are. Yeah, does that work? Yes, it does. That's pretty cool. There's absolutely loads of configurability, and then you can change the status light. I don't know why you'd want to do that. It might be hard to tell the camera's status. Do you still want to turn it off? Yes. So if you turn that off, you can't then see that the webcam is active, which, okay, that is an option. And you can also change the brightness of the LED as well. So yeah, in general, there's absolutely tons of settings. I mean, you can control absolutely everything. Let's just do that. There we are. Yeah, that looks absolutely awful. But there we are. I'm going to end the video like this. So in general, there's absolutely loads you can do. It's really interesting, actually, just how much there is. Hand tracking. There we are, my radioactive hands. But you can track that. You can do loads of different things. And I'm going to go back to the normal face tracking, I think. And now I'll go back to the normal face tracking. But the point is, there's loads of different things you can do, and it's actually really impressive. And yeah, in general, there's so many more features in this OBSBOT than you get with, a cheap Logitech webcam and things like that. So credit to OBSBOT, this is a really good product. In the next video though, I actually wanted to compare the image quality of this to a few different devices, including this Logitech webcam and actually some of my proper cameras and my smartphone, so you can see a comparison of the image quality there. But if you've got any questions whatsoever, please drop me a comment. And if you enjoyed this video, please click the thumbs up button and please subscribe to see more unboxings like this. Thanks for watching.